I want to welcome this motion from my Green Party colleagues and acknowledge the work Senator Garvey has put into it. Quite simply, water is life, and when it stays where it should, in proper quantities and at a correct flow rate, it supports life, whether that's ecosystems in soils, on land and in our waterways. When flow rates of water exceed the capacity of the soil, or a river or stream, or indeed a drain, flooding will occur. It's quite simple, but we see it all the time, and we're going to see more of it. At this stage, I think we can all accept that climate change is going to bring with it increased rainfall and increase the incidence of flooding. And that will have a knock-on effect for all of society. This programme for government commits to a land use review to ensure that optimal land use options inform all relevant government decisions, and mitigating flooding will be an important part of that. The review will balance environmental, social and economic conditions and will include consideration of carbon sequestration, climate adaptation challenges and emissions to air and water. The review is being overseen by a steering committee co-chaired by the Department of Agriculture, Food and the Marine and the Department of Environment, Climate and Communications. The steering committee has representatives from those two departments, as well as the Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage, and 2 independent nominees. The land use review is being carried out in 2 phases. At present, we have incomplete information on the things that we use our land for. So phase 1, which is already underway, will assess the characteristics of land types and land uses across Ireland. It is chaired by the EPA with technical advisors from across many government departments. Phase 2 will build upon the results of this review and will consider policies and measures in the context of the government's wider economic, social and climate objectives. Better data means better policy, and knowing more about how we use land means government can make better policy choices. Of course, in relation to flooding, some lands are meant to flood, particularly during the winter months. But we must also recognise the increased incidence of flooding during the summer months, and in particular the devastating consequences this can have for farmers, businesses, homes and wildlife. One area which floods a lot is the Shannon Callows, a unique area and one which I have visited on a couple of occasions, most recently with Minister O'Donovan. You will recall, Minister, that we shared a boat trip during the summer, and while it was lovely, it was not quite the romantic voyage it sounds like. We were more on a fact-finding mission with officials from Waterways Ireland and your own OPW. We travelled from Banagher in County Offaly to Mealich Weir, and then we met representatives from the IFA and Save Our Shannon. I think it was a valuable visit for us both, during which it became clear to me that there are many different issues which need clarification as well as action. I realised that while everyone affected by multi-year summer flooding wants action on pinch points, there are different interpretations as to what these actually are. Both interpretations need addressing. The first, those pinch points along the riverbed, which if removed from the navigation channel will in turn allow for the water level, controlled for navigation, to be lowered. And I know that you, Minister, have committed to this work, but like you, I do recognise that it is a long-term project. The second interpretation of pinch points refers to the build-up of silt and vegetation at various locations. And again, I understand that the management of these falls into the remit of the OPW maintenance programme. This is about balancing needs, and it has to be done fairly. Yes, the River Shannon is important for tourism, but it also has significant impacts on farmers and biodiversity, with the broods of many wading birds in this area under significant threat from these summer floods. So we need to get that balance right, and I think a mix of nature-based solutions and some structural management is needed. This summer flooding is no longer once in 100 years, or even once in a generation. It is compounded by climate change and has a direct negative effect on livelihoods and biodiversity, specifically in the area that concerns me most in West Offaly. And I want to continue to work with farmers and environmentalists and with you, Minister, with a focus on practical and effective solutions to this delicate and rapidly changing situation. Thank you.